So, Elliot, you reached out on the Patreon and you said that you had cervical instability. We've never talked before. You'd never messaged me before. And you said you got a pretty good result from just doing some of the Patreon exercises. So, yeah, tell us a bit about how you found HFT, what your experience was like before with cervical instability, how you got it, and what you're up to now.
Okay, so I'll try to make sort of short of it. The main issue that I was dealing with was like what I would consider nervous system dysfunction via like the vagus nerve, anxiety issues mainly. Also had issues with like dizziness, stuff like that. And this was kind of started last summer and hit pretty bad point last November. So I'm about 11 months into the recovery and trying to figure all of this out. And I've been to chiropractors, seen some alleviation of symptoms from chiropractors, the good ones that can read an x-ray and adjust the skeletal structure appropriately. But, chiropractors, in my eyes, it's just symptom relief at best. So from about last November on, I knew that it was an issue in the body, like I thought muscularly, that was wrong because I had issues of like what I would think is like muscle atrophy, like a lack of connection to the right side of my neck, the obliques, the lat, the glute. Like it was kind of like the whole chain. Specifically on my right side was just not moving right and just had lacks of connection all over. So I'd spent, from last November, we're about 11 months into me trying to figure this out. I did all sorts of exercises, normal gym stuff to just try to improve mind muscle connection, mobility, hip mobility stuff, core training stuff, a lot of back extensions. I've tried so many different things and seen, when I was doing that kind of stuff, like limited success, very slowly over time, the condition was getting better for me. But I found one of Coach Chong's videos on Instagram, I think maybe 2, 3 months ago now. Kind of funnily enough, it wasn't a video on cervical instability. It was just a video talking about fascia and how it's connected through the whole body. And it's like the light bulb went off in my head, and like I felt immediately like it was what I was missing. So it's like immediately like I subscribed to the Patreon, started diving into it, listening to everything, and it just made a ton of sense. And once I started doing the exercises, like my progress just went a lot quicker. Everything made a lot more sense once I found this out. And yeah, it just continues to get better and better, a lot quicker, following the exercises on the Patreon.
That's fantastic. Do you mind telling me and anyone who's listening how you got your cervical instability?
You know, I don't know. It's a funny thing that in lead up to me getting symptoms, I was trying to improve my posterior chain. I was trying to strengthen the whole basically backside of my body from the hamstrings through the low back and up. Like I just didn't feel like I had strength through that, the backside of my body, which now I realize is more the fascial structure. That's what I was trying to strengthen. And in the process, I must have just been doing something wrong or pushed things in the wrong direction. I do think that along that journey of me trying to fix it, because like I had low back tightness and like I would do back extensions, for example, and the low back would kind of just tighten up. So I got a inversion table, and I feel like that could have contributed to kicking off the asymmetry from my left side to right side, because my fascial structure through my left side of my body is perfectly fine. Like I have good foot to glute connection and connection to the core. It's very solid. It's the right side that was very messed up.
So before you started doing the HFT exercises, what were your main, like most debilitating symptoms and maybe some other symptoms that kind of surprised you from this injury?
Main thing, it might consider it like POTS, because when I would be standing upright or sitting upright, in the upright posture, it would be like the symptoms of kind of like anxiety, and it would just build. It would get worse and worse and worse, to a point where, almost feeling like you're going to pass out.
Mhm.
That was pretty much the main issue. Only like when things were very bad, maybe last November, like in the early months, November, January, February, that I would have like dizziness, vision issues. I still kind of get that a little bit, but it's like 5% of what it used to be.
So what do you feel now in terms of those symptoms? Have they mostly gone away? Maybe 95% resolved, or how do you feel now?
At the moment, I'd say about 95% resolved. Like I'm almost good from a symptom perspective. I'm still very much invested in following the HFT Patreon to, keep working out the imbalances.
As I said at the start of the call, this is our first time talking. You
Hmm.
probably don't know my story. I had cervical instability, and I was the first person to go through Chong's program with it. And now I'm helping him share the fascia education. So yeah, we haven't talked before. I didn't tell you to do the Patreon exercises, and in
Yeah.
fact, Chong would say, like if you have a very specific issue like this, which people understand it's very complex, there's so many moving parts. Everyone's body condition is different, and there's a big spectrum of like how severe it can be. He would not recommend doing the Patreon exercise to resolve it because it's complex. It needs one-on-one intervention. So we didn't tell you to do this. You just decided to do it. But that's fantastic that you've got this result now. And how long did it take to kind of see these changes happen?
I mean, I noticed immediately. So like the first time I did the exercises, I I was still dealing with lack of like connection to the right side of my neck. And I noticed immediately that the connection all around my neck was just a little bit better. And you're not doing anything directly to your neck. And it's all like kind of like with your feet and lower body. And so it just proved that like the fascia is all connected, and it just further reinforced that it all makes sense. Yeah. Immediately I noticed that it was, I was kind of like onto something with this and just kept doing it. Really over the last few weeks, it's gotten really kind of building up because I'm just dialing in like everything that I'm doing. Like, I'm a fit person overall as it is, and I don't think my condition maybe is as bad as it some people could be. I think mainly the reason why I'm able to have success without coaching is because the left side of my body and the whole fascial structure is good. Like it's solid. So it's like I'm constantly like cross-referencing how my left side is doing through this and where my, foot and ankle is positioned and my knee up to the glute and so on, and trying to mimic that on the right side. So like I have something to kind of look at as a guide almost.
Yeah, okay. So you did the exercises for about 2 to 3 months. Before you started them, did you have any doubts, or did you just think, this kind of makes sense based on the messaging and you just wanted to give it a go?
Based off of everything that I had been doing, because like I've put a ton of time into this. It's not been some small like journey I've been on. It's been a daily effort
Yes.
over the last, 11 months, almost a year now.
Mhm.
Every day I'd be trying to progress, and it just made sense. By the time I found Coach Chong's video, it's just like, this is what I was missing. Like I knew immediately because I was already trending in this direction of like the things that were working were more along these lines. Um, yeah, it just made sense for me.
Okay, fantastic. And do you seem to remember what the first reel was that you saw, or what one kind of like sparked it off? I mean, I talked before in the content and talking to the people in the cervical instability communities that, elite athleticism is on one end of the spectrum and chronic pain and injuries is on the other end. So it does
Yeah,
make sense to actually look at the performance side of things
right.
to understand how those people got there, because they didn't get there lifting weights, and they didn't get there injecting themselves. They got there through a natural mechanism, and that's what Chong has reverse engineered. So do you remember if it was something more about injuries or performance that kind of sparked your curiosity?
I don't remember the exact video, but I know it wasn't talking about cervical instability. It was just him describing, whether it was in reference to an injury or something, just how the fascia connects everything together. Because I knew that this issue wasn't like one muscle group was just causing all of this. Like I knew that there was a chain of things that were wrong. And I could like I started to think like I can follow the line down the right side of my body of things that are not working right. So him talking about how it's all connected just really made a lot of sense to me and got me interested right away.
That's fantastic. And that's the other thing I'm saying to the people in the cervical instability groups. It's not always about just, doing a program. The education does come first to understand, okay,
Yeah.
well, what's this guy actually saying? What's fascia? What does it do? And like just how complex it is. I mean, it plays a very significant role in the body. And as Chong always says, this is something that was discarded during dissection so that the doctors don't understand how it
Mhm.
works because they just wanted to study the muscle. So all the interventions that people are trying for CCI, like prolotherapy, PRP, even
Yeah.
surgery, it doesn't include the fascia perspective. So it's important for people to know that and then to go kind of link that together with, okay, why aren't people getting better? So is there anything else you kind of came across in your research or anything that was super interesting to you that kind of, again, like gets you excited? Because this stuff is exciting when you start piecing it
Yeah.
together.
No, it's super exciting. It has completely blown my mind, and I've always been like a fitness person, like traditional gym training.
Yep.
Like I've always, 4, 5, 6 days a week. I'm very active, like person that would work out. And it just blows my mind that this frame of thought is just not more commonly known about. When I found Coach Strong stuff, like I've listened to pretty much everything that I can on the like every Q&A on the Patreon, like every podcast he's done, and then people that he's done podcasts with, kind of looked more into them. Even like Quentin Torres, people kind of like looking at it from the MMA perspective. I've just really gone deep into trying to understand how it works because I'm totally convinced that this is my way out of this whole mess that I'm in. So it's like I have to figure out everything that I can so that I understand how I can apply these principles to myself. And
I was just
mhm,
at the Fascia Research Congress with Chong, and one of the big things that they were presenting from some of the new research is that 40% of the nerve innervation in fascia is sympathetic nerves. So, all the autonomic processes, the sort of things that you were talking about with your symptoms, if your
yeah,
fascia is not right, then the signals can't transfer properly. There's going to be disruption. There's going to be some chaos there, inflammation, where
yeah,
things are not going to function properly. So you can do all the nervous system regulation in the world, but if the physical structures are preventing the other systems from working, then it's only going to be short-lived, some of this temporary relief stuff. So yeah, I mean that's tied in perfectly with your symptoms and yeah, that's super important. Thanks for the call. Is there anything else that you wanted to talk about with your journey or anything that you've learned? I mean, as I said, this is our first time talking face to
yeah,
face. I didn't convince you to do the Patreon exercises. It's just nice to hear somebody else getting a result. Just quickly before you say whatever you want to say, Chong, has helped 3 people that have done his program resolve their condition. There's a
hmm,
fourth person who he's finishing this week, and there'll be a new testimonial out soon. And then there's a couple of people that are just starting. So it has helped a very good track record of people so far. It'd be good to see it helping more people if
yeah,
people just start doing some of the free exercises.
yeah. That's great. It's nice to hear from someone like yourself that's dealt with something similar. Like
Yeah.
there's just not a lot of people out there that can relate. And I've been speaking Coach Chong's praises in wherever I can with people with these issues, specifically like Reddit groups. Just that like this is like the frame of thinking that like people should be looking in. I did want to ask you like frequency in the exercises, just from your perspective, like how frequently do you do these exercises? Because what my protocol's been is like every other day. Because he
That's
says 2, 3 times a week. I see that as like I can get at this a solid session every other day.
mhm.
I was curious about your thoughts on that.
Yeah, sure. I'll just share what Coach Chong has shared with me. Unlike the muscle, the fascia does take a long time to adapt. So let's say
Hmm.
you do a session on a Monday, there's still going to be remodeling that your body's doing multiple days afterwards. So that's why he's saying 2 to 3 times a week, because those days in between, there's still neurogenesis happening, there's still connections forming. And if you stack up too much of like a debt of what your body needs to remodel, but even if you're like not sleeping properly, not eating properly, etc., you can
Hmm.
get collagen necrosis. So it can, like the fascia can start to die off or remodeling is disrupted. So he's saying 2 to 3 times a week to allow your body to remodel in between the sessions. Unlike
Yeah.
muscle, it does take a bit longer. He does say that you can do the towel curls with your feet and the hand curls every day if you want to. And of
Hmm.
course, the rolling can be done every day. And he recommends getting outside and walking each day. But yeah, just to do a bigger session, like let's say the Patreon 13 or 16 exercises 2 to 3 times a week, and really let your body rest and recover. Sleep is very important because that
Yeah.
stimulus is going to be quite strong. It's a lot of neurogenesis, connections happening in the brain and throughout the rest of the
Yep.
fascia. So I hope that kind of answers why he says 2 to 3 times a week.
Yeah.
But it's going to differ, like how much you can take in a session, of course, will differ depending on your body condition, what symptoms you have, if you have CCI. So, like
Sure.
when I first started my program, my sessions were very short. And by the end of it, I could go for much, much longer because my tolerance was higher. But yeah, thank you very much. Is there anything else you wanted to share? I'm going to put this up on my YouTube channel. Is there anything else you wanted to share with people that might have this issue?
No, nothing particular. I mean, I think that's really the only like insights that I can provide that might be unique. Just that, if you have cervical instability, that it's the way to go. It's completely, shattered my whole reality of whatever I thought how the body worked. It's blown my mind, and I'm super happy that I found it, and I'm continuing to do it. It's a great thing.
Well, fantastic, Elliot. I'm glad to hear about your result.
All right, yeah, appreciate the call.